All right, everybody. What's up? Some crazy stuff going on right now. I literally just had to hop out of bed to come and report this tonight to you guys. Or I guess you could say first thing this morning. Gavin Newsom is on one, dude. He is on one. Now, many people in the YouTube political podcasting, sphere, ranging from Kyle Kalinske to Adam Mockler to many of them have been very, very down on Gavin Newsom lately. Very down on him. Other than, of course, Brian Tyler Cohen, which, by the way, a huge fan. Hope you don't mind me showing a couple clips from this interview. I can say honestly that Gavin Newsom is like finally stepping up and saying the stuff that needs to be said. So Brian Tyler Cohen got an interview with him, and here's what happened. Let's get started. Gavin has a lot to say, man. So let's check it out.
We found out from his previous Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, that he had attempted to get the military deployed in an American city previously, and Mark Esper wouldn't go along with this plan. And so now, do you have any confidence that Pete Hegseth will be as principled as Mark Esper was?
Pete Hegseth's a joke. What a joke. Everybody knows it. So in over his head. What an embarrassment. That's just guy's weakness masquerading as strength. I don't even know he masquerades as strength. Serious moment. This Human guy, these guys, it's the band of misfits.
Yeah.
It really is. This is serious. The people's lives are at stake. The reputation of this country is at stake. Great American cities and states. It's not just, this is a preview for things to come. This isn't about LA per se. It's about us today. It's about you, everyone watching tomorrow. I promise you.
Wow, man. He literally called Pete Hegseth a clown. He called Trump's entire administration basically a joke. We needed this. We really needed this because we needed somebody that is like a Gavin Newsom, a powerful, stand-up, regular, straight white male, right? Every time there's somebody that's coming forward that's barking on Trump, they're either, 88-year-old Bernie Sanders or, some young, beautiful black woman like Jasmine Crockett. And that doesn't resonate. It just doesn't resonate, but not with the people that we're trying to have it resonate with, if you catch my drift. Jasmine always resonates with me. But MAGA's not listening to that, right? But this is finally, you're not kissing anyone's ass anymore. You're coming right out swinging. So anyway, listen to this.
To what extent do you think it was a coincidence that in the aftermath of a week that was just rife with bad news for Trump as it relates to his relationship with Elon, his falling out with Elon, the budget bill obviously being on thin ice, that suddenly he finds a blue state that is just an easy punching bag for him? It's the state of California.
I love that question, by the way, that Brian Tyler Cohen's literally Trump has a bill that he's trying to pass. Everybody is shitting on it. Every single person, including some of the people in his closest circles. And nobody wants this bill to pass. And this is supposed to be his big, beautiful bill, his legacy, right? And all of a sudden, he just decides to just wage war on California as a way to distract everybody. It's unbelievable. But anyway, love that question. But listen to what Gavin says.
And now we have federal troops
100%.
here.
It's all about news cycles. 24/7. It's about weekly news, whatever he can to distract, to continue. Disastrous economic policies, calamitous economic policies potentially. Even his biggest sycophant in the country, Elon Musk, said likelihood of a recession in the second half of the year. Massive debt and deficits. The absurdity of his claim that the economy is doing well. He's wrecking the economy. He's destroyed allies around the world. These great 90 deals in 90 days. Nothing about this president and this presidency is working.
Everything that Gavin Newsom just said right there is an absolute fact. Everything. Irrefutably. Like, if you live in reality and you don't spend all your time on Fox News, everything that he just said is absolutely 100%. Everything that he just said. Incredible. Man, and he needed to say it. He really needed to say it. We wanted to see this.
The Ukraine war, it's getting worse, not better.
True.
I mean, it's the theater of the absurd. And so, of course, he comes in. But this is different because this puts American lives at risk, puts the lives of American citizens at risk, and puts the lives of law enforcement at risk.
Incredible. Everything that he said is a fact. But now, listen to what he says here, because this gets even better. I think this is the one where he shreds Mike Johnson.
In your last conversation with Donald Trump,
Oh no. Listen to, this is where he calls Trump a stone cold liar. A stone cold liar, because Trump called him and tried to basically say that Gavin Newsom wanted to work with him with the National Guard to solve this situation, which is a complete lie. And listen.
I believe was in the last 24 hours. How did that conversation go? What did you say to him? What did he say to you?
He never brought up the National Guard. Stone cold liar. Said he did. Stone cold liar. Never did. Didn't even really want to talk about LA. Out of respect to the presidency, that 20-minute conversation, I won't even get into things he actually wanted to talk about. But it wasn't about any of these things. Now he's making it all up. This is past practice, is what he does. So it's the theater. It's a remarkable thing to experience in real time. And in real time, people's lives are at risk because of his recklessness.
Tell it like it is, Gavin. We were all wondering, see, what you guys need to understand about Gavin Newsom is that there is nobody in the country more qualified to be the president of the United States. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody wants to challenge me on that, we can go toe to toe. Maybe you don't like that Gavin Newsom doesn't, cater to talking about trans issues or whatever it is that you have a problem with if you're on the real far left. Gavin Newsom runs California that has a population of 40 million people. We are responsible, I say we because I'm in California, for paying the most into the country's taxes. I think it's like over $80 billion that we pay into that we don't even get back. Okay? We pay the country's bills. People on welfare in Missouri are getting it paid for by California taxpayers. Essentially, California could be its own country. We have over 300 forms of agriculture here. And a lot of misnomers about LA or about California is that, oh, it's this blue state, it's this and that, it's blah, 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 and all it is a bunch of Hollywood celebrities. You have no idea what you're talking about. Gavin Newsom has ran the most largest and most productive and largest economy. California is now the fourth largest economy in the world. Just the state of California. The fourth in the world for the largest economy. So make no mistake about it. It's like running a country. There is nobody that runs any state in America other than the only argument would be New York and Texas. That's it. And New York and Texas don't do the numbers that California does in terms of what we're doing agriculturally and economically. And the ports and all the stuff that we deal with other countries overseas. And I mean, it's everything that Gavin does is just as it's basically right on par with running a country. And people like him, people love him. They wanted to see him run this last election, and he didn't. And honestly, I kind of am angry at him for that. Like, we wouldn't even be in this situation if he would have stepped up, but he didn't. And he continued to run California, but it might actually turn out to be a good thing because we needed somebody with the balls to step up against Donald Trump in this fascist regime. We absolutely needed that. It was very important that we had that. Anyway, I want to show you what else he says. Listen to this.
Do you have a concern that he will ramp up his threats from just federalizing the National Guard to invoking the Insurrection Act if this isn't dealt with?
Of course. I mean, this is. I mean, what more evidence do we need of the authoritarian tendencies? It's not even
much.
tendencies now. Actions of this president is complete lawlessness, threatening impeachment of judges that disagree with him, going after knowledge broadly, the cultural purge, institutions of higher learning. It's the conveyor belt for talent. It's the reason this country is so is successful as it is.
Let's also not forget that he's suing news agencies that write stories and publish stories that he don't like. He is threatening law firms that are representing people that are suing him and saying he's going to revoke their license. He's, it's egregious. At this point, it's beyond egregious, the extent with which he is an authoritarian.
He's coming after books and knowledge. He's rewriting history, censoring historical facts. I mean, Hegseth's so weak, he can't even allow the kids at West Point to read books from, Toni Morrison.
Yeah.
He's I mean, it's a serious, serious moment in America, and we've got to assert ourselves, and we are asserting ourselves, and we're just not going to stand for this.
I want to actually intervene here, and I want to state that when you end up in a situation like this where the president is becoming an authoritarian fascist, the only real defense that we have are the people who run the states. So when Gavin Newsom is stepping up and defending California, because what Trump did is illegal. You can't deploy the National Guard without the governor of that state telling you that they are asking you for it. That's not legal. You can't do that. When everyone wants to point to the precedent of the LA riots. During the LA riots, things were so out of control in Los Angeles that the then governor of California personally asked, or got involved in some way with the president to request that the National Guard come to California and to do that. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. Nobody asked Trump to send those people here. And with Pete Hegseth saying, we're going to have the Marines go in there. The Marines have a duty under oath to tell you to fuck off if you ask them to do that, because they swear their oath to the Constitution, not to Pete Hegseth and not to Donald Trump. Let that be known.
You mentioned before that you'd spoken with Donald Trump on the phone. What he said you guys spoke about is obviously different from what you actually spoke about. And so he has every intention of
Stone cold liar.
He has every intention of not acting in good faith as it relates to speaking with you in private versus speaking with you in public. And so if he's going to litigate this thing in the press, what is your message to him in light of what he's doing right now?
Tell the truth. Own up to the truth. But what the hell is that? Advice to Donald Trump to talk honestly and truthfully? He's a stone cold liar.
He'll never be honest. All he is a liar. It's all he knows how to do.
I respect the presidency. I've tried to have an open hand with him, tried to work with him. You can't work with Donald Trump. You can only work for him. And I will not. I refuse to work for Donald Trump.
Woo! You can never work with Donald Trump. You can only work for him. Wow. Gavin is on fire, swinging for the fences. Here's a letter that was put together by David Sapp, the legal affairs secretary for the office of Governor Gavin Newsom. This letter was sent to Pete Hegseth and the Department of Defense. On June 7th, dear Secretary Hegseth, on June 7, 2025, President Trump issued a memorandum to your office entitled Department of Defense Security for the Protection of Department of Homeland Security Functions. The memorandum purports to invoke 10 U.S.C. and 12406 to call into federal service members and units of the National Guard to temporarily protect ICE and other United States government personnel who are performing federal functions, including the enforcement of federal law, and to protect federal property. The memorandum further directs actions as necessary for the Secretary of Defense to coordinate with the governors of the states and the National Guard Bureau in identifying and ordering into federal service the appropriate members and units of the National Guard under his authority. Section 12406 states that the president may call into federal service members and units of the National Guard of any state in such numbers as he considers necessary to 1. Repel an invasion of the United States by a foreign nation. 2. Suppress a rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States. Or 3. Execute the laws of the United States when the president is unable to do so with regular forces. Section 12406 further states that orders for these purposes shall be issued through the governors of the states. Last night, the Adjutant General of California received a memorandum from your office with the subject line calling members of the California National Guard into federal service, which states that 2,000 members of the California National Guard will be called into federal service effective immediately for a period of 60 days. Notably, this directive did not issue through the governor of the state as required by Section 12406. The Department of Defense did not transmit this directive to the office of the governor, nor was it approved or ordered by the governor of California. This directive is also inconsistent with the president's memorandum, which anticipates coordination with the governors of the states and identifying and ordering units of the National Guard into federal service. He did not ask for the National Guard to be in California. In fact, he, quite the contrary, said it was unnecessary. And he has not been in coordination with the president. And those two things are required for the president to do this, or else this infringes upon states' rights. It is illegal. Period. Does Trump care? No. You know why? Because the Supreme Court is going to tell him it's illegal, and that's not going to be enough. Because once he tells him it's illegal, he's going to go, so what? What are you going to do about it? And then he's going to appeal it, and then months will go by while they go through the appellate process. And then when that's all done, he'll ask for a stay, as he'll probably ask for the Supreme Court to, or he'll raise the appellate court to be overseen again by the Supreme Court, because I think it goes to a regular judge for appellate, and then it has to go back to the Supreme Court as another appeals decision. I mean, and by the time all this is going on, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. It's insane. Anyway, at present, law enforcement authorities from the city and county of Los Angeles are safeguarding public safety, and as demonstrated by the robust law enforcement response yesterday evening to protect federal facilities, local law enforcement resources are sufficient to maintain order. This is the governor saying our police can handle it. In dynamic and fluid situations such as the one in Los Angeles, state and local authorities are the most appropriate ones to evaluate the need for resources to safeguard life and property. Indeed, the decisions to deploy the National Guard without appropriate training or orders risks seriously escalating the situation. There is currently no need for the National Guard to be deployed in Los Angeles, and to do so in this unlawful manner and for such a lengthy period is a serious breach of state sovereignty that seems intentionally designed to inflame the situation, while simultaneously depriving the state from deploying these personnel and resources where they are truly required. Accordingly, we ask that you immediately rescind your order and return the National Guard to its rightful control by the state of California to be deployed as appropriate when necessary. Sincerely, David Sapp, Legal Affairs Secretary, Office of Governor Gavin Newsom. This letter was sent out, and now Gavin Newsom is going to sue Donald Trump. The state of California is going to sue, which he's got multiple lawsuits going against Trump, because you cannot infringe upon state sovereignty. You can't do it. It's illegal. We have a constitution in the United States. And it seems that Gavin Newsom understands that. It seems that neither Hegseth, nor Donald Trump, nor Kristi Noem, nor Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, none of them seem to know this. None of them seem to understand what a constitution is or how it works. So, speaking of Kristi Noem, for those of you who want to know whether or not it's illegal, if you guys want to know if it's illegal, what Donald Trump is doing right now in California, I think the best person to tell you is Kristi Noem. Let's let the head of Homeland Security tell you why it's illegal. As she posted many moons ago, or February 6, 2024, a little over a year ago, she writes on X, if Joe Biden federalizes the National Guard, that would be a direct attack on states' rights. Over the last several years, we've seen Democrats try to take away our freedoms of religion, assembly, and speech, which they never have. We can't let them take away our right to defend ourselves, too. South Dakota defends the Constitution. So let's go ahead and listen to what she says here.
Stood by Governor Abbott's side. If you didn't stand with him in solidarity, I'm not sure Biden wouldn't have precipitated a real crisis down there.
Yeah, Sean, I went the actual day that showdown was supposed to happen. People asked me why, when I heard the news, I immediately the next day was at the border. And it was because of what I heard Democrats encouraging the president to do. They were encouraging President Biden to activate our National Guard soldiers so that they would stand down. He actually was going to take control of our South Dakota National Guard and actually activate them so that they would not protect America. So recognizing the real threat that was to states' rights and how that would be the first time in history a president would pay a soldier to not fight, to not protect our country, made me show up in Texas the next day to let Governor Abbott know I'm here. South Dakota is with you. We will defend our Constitution. We will defend our rights, because the last several years we've seen the Democrats take away our freedom of religion, our freedom of assembly, our freedom of speech. We can't let them take away our states' rights, too, especially our right to protect ourselves.
So she just roasted Joe Biden for thinking about federalizing the National Guard and sending them to South Dakota. For thinking about it. He didn't even do it. I don't know where she got that from. Maybe it was discussed, but he didn't do it. But she literally just a year ago said this. And now she is helping Trump do the same thing and trying to sit on Fox News and justify why it's totally okay to do so. MAGA is the biggest hypocritical crock of shit that I've ever seen in my lifetime. It is absolutely unbelievable. Anyway, I'm going to end on this. Gavin Newsom is not fucking around. He is not playing games. So for those of you who don't know, Tom Homan is the border czar for Donald Trump, and he has threatened to arrest Gavin Newsom if he continues to be a problem and stand in their way of whatever they're trying to do, which again is extremely illegal. You can't arrest a governor because states have rights. I mean, this is insane. This is a massive, unhinged overreach of Donald Trump. Unbelievable. Anyway, listen to what Gavin Newsom says.
Yesterday, he did not rule out literally arresting you, nor Mayor Bass, if you interfere in his work. He said you hadn't yet.
He's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me. But you know what? Let your hands off 4-year-old girls that are trying to get educated. Let your hands off these poor people. They're just trying to live their lives, man. Trying to live their lives, paying their taxes. Been here 10 years. The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
Gavin Newsom 2028, baby. If he stays like this, he wins the next election. If he stays like this, he wins the next election. But even though I was upset at him for not running the last election, I'm very grateful that he didn't, because we needed somebody that was not going to be a coward in the face of this fascist regime. And I'm going to leave you guys on that note. I can very much see a Gavin Newsom, Pete Buttigieg ticket in 2028. Let's